Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. To those of you who are new to this channel, this channel is devoted to talking about the difference between traditional non-duality and fake non-duality. Non-duality is an ancient Indian philosophy that people have been exploring for thousands of years, and there's a modern version called Neo-Advaita or Neo-Non-Duality that's actually very dangerous. It's very watered down, distorted. And this channel is devoted to helping people learn the difference. And, as I talk more and more about fake non-duality, I've realized that a lot of the problems in fake non-duality are the problems in just bad spirituality in general. And I had no idea there was bad spirituality. When I first started my spiritual path, I was like, oh, if it's spiritual, it's good. And I slowly but surely have learned that that is really not true. And I've had to learn discernment. And it's been a very painful process. And so today I'd like to talk about grief and fake spirituality. And this is inspired by someone I know who didn't get involved in fake non-duality, but got involved in a spiritual group that ended up being really, not in integrity and really, really fake. And some of the grief she's going through. So part of why fake spirituality is so devastating is because the quest for, you can use different words, God, truth, enlightenment, but really for freedom, right? We're all seeking freedom. Everybody on this planet struggles, and struggles a lot. It's not easy to be in a body on this planet. It's very, very difficult, very painful, very challenging, heart-wrenching. And everyone in their own way is seeking release from that suffering. And it's like two things: release from the suffering and the good stuff, whether you call it heaven, love, God, bliss. And so religion and spirituality, that's what they promise. Every legitimate, religion or spiritual path promises freedom, an end of misery, and some flavor of joy, whether it be love, bliss, peace. Like that's what's being offered. And the reason why I believe why fake spirituality is so painful is because it makes the ultimate promise, and even worse, it'll give you a taste, sometimes a very strong taste. A lot of these unhealthy spiritual traditions are able to partially deliver. Like, it'd be one thing if they just sort of talk this talk and like, you can be free of suffering and you can be happy, but they didn't really deliver. But most of these traditions can get, not traditions, but groups and individuals are able to give you a taste of that bliss, a taste of heaven, really. And how they're able to do that, I've talked about, and it's its own topic. But it's like making the ultimate promise, starting to deliver on that ultimate promise. And then it ends up that it's all a sham, or like 90% a sham. And the heartbreak, the absolute heartbreak and devastation is it's unspeakable. A lot of people get bitter and angry, and I was for years, and not all the way through that, most of the way through that. But And I've tried to circumvent that heartache, and it just didn't work. Because it's the biggest. It's the biggest. Because again, what we're talking about here is our deepest desire is for freedom and communion. And then we're promised that. And then we get a taste of that. And then it ends up all being a sham. And the devastation is unspeakable. And, I tried to find all these ways around it. And then one day I had to just acknowledge to myself the devastation is it's beyond me. It's bigger than me. Like this heartbreak is so big and so vast, it feels like it's never gonna heal. Like I'm never gonna get over this. Now I knew that wasn't true on a sort of a spiritual level. Like my bottom line is everything will be okay, that we're all on this journey and everything will work out. Like that's my deepest truth. That's my deepest belief. But you can't use spiritual beliefs to bypass feelings, especially big feelings. Like maybe you're driving down the street and someone cuts you off and you're like, "Arr!" And you're like, oh, okay, just take a breath, chill, everything's okay. That's not a big deal, right? That's like using a spiritual idea to soothe a feeling. Not a big deal. But for a really big feeling, for a really painful, traumatic human experience, you cannot bypass that pain. And when I say you, I mean me, but what I also mean is I fucking tried. I tried everything to bypass it. Spiritually, addictive, like sex, drugs, rock and roll. And so I just had to like let myself be crushed and just be like, you know what? This heartache is bigger than me. It is. I'm never going to be fully over this. I may be devastated for the rest of my life. This is it's a little subtle, but that's how I was feeling. I was feeling like I'm never going to get over this. I intellectually knew I would, although some moments I thought I wasn't. And I just let myself be devastated for a couple of weeks. And I didn't even fully know I was doing this, but I was just like, okay, I'm broken and I'm never going to be fixed. Like the devastation is just too big. And believe it or not, that opened the door. And I had tried everything spiritual, not everything literally, but spiritual, holistic, every form of escape, every form of distraction. So you may, to the people watching this, I don't know where each person is at. We're all on our own journey. It took me years to get to the point where I just, because part of what I'm talking about is surrender, right? Because bad spirituality resists reality. The reality was I was torn up, broken, devastated beyond words. But I was resisting that. I was resisting the pain and the grief. I finally just gave into it. And for literally a couple weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm fucked up beyond repair. Nothing is going to help me get better. This is as good as it gets. I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life. This must be God's will. It's what's happening. And that opened the door. Because it's so subtle. The idea of surrender and accepting is talked about. But what about accepting brokenness? What about accepting devastation? What about accepting the feeling, the thought and the feeling, I'm broken beyond repair? Like that's considered unacceptable, right? Especially in spiritual circles, especially in fake spiritual circles. So, to the person I know who inspired this video, hey Rogan, thanks for saying hi. If you have any questions or comments, please do share them. My heart is with you, dear one. And part of it's just acknowledging what is. Even if it's not literally true, you know, part of what helped this to happen, I met this satsang teacher a while ago. And this person was so clear, not Neo-Advaita at all. This person was so clear, and she was so embracing of her humanity. She was so clear that everything is okay, everything is as it should be, and she had a child, and she and the father were not together. And then when the child was about, I think, 11 or 12, told her, "Hey, I want to go live with my dad." And it was the child was a boy, and she said to me, and I'll never forget these words. She said, there was no way around the human loss. I just had to let myself have it. And I almost have tears because this person was so clear about spiritual, the goodness, and that everything is okay, and that suffering is always based in illusion. But she also knew that pain was real and loss is real. And she gave herself that experience of grieving. And of course, she found her way through it. And I'm finding my way through my own grief, through all the loss I've experienced with fake spirituality. I hope this video helps people take a step forward in that. And let's see what Rogan has to say. Oh, Rogan. Dude, that deserves a whole video of itself. Do you think that non-duality and narcissism is linked? Okay, so welcome, Rogan. And here's the thing. There's non-duality and there's fake non-duality. Most of what's out there today is fake non-duality. So is non-duality and narcissism linked? No. Exact opposite. No connection. Is narcissism and fake non-duality linked? It's almost narcissism, Neo-Advaita. Narcissism, fake non-duality. Yes, they are so linked. So I will make another video on that. But that's the first thing, is to distinguish between actual non-duality and fake non-duality. And yes, fake non-duality is based in narcissism. Yes, okay, good. That's what you meant. Neo-Advaita and fake non-duality. Yes, and you're getting to see it. So for those who, in the chat, Rogan wrote, have a friend who went to blah-de-blah, a particular teacher, for a month, and is now narcissistic and losing everyone around him. And that is how Neo-Advaita works. It makes you completely self-absorbed. Now, this is the trick. Self-absorption is talked about in non-duality, but the self-absorption that happens in Neo-Advaita is completely different. It's In non-duality, self-absorption means absorption, communion and union with the universal that includes your personality. It's like the union of your personality with the universal. Neo-Advaita, fake non-duality, self-absorption means getting completely wrapped up in your personality and thinking it's spiritual. And all the while, all you want is to get high on God and thinking you're enlightened. Completely different, night and day. Well, Rogan wrote that his friend will not tell him anything about his experience there, but wants Rogan to watch and practice Neo-Advaita. Well, this particular teacher, so I don't mention teachers by name unless so Muji used to, I don't know if he still does, when you go to one of Muji's retreats or stay at his center, has you sign a non-disclosure agreement, tries to legally bind you to not talk about what happened there. I don't know if Muji still does this, but he used to. That is evil. I'm not saying Muji's evil, but that behavior and action, absolutely evil, has nothing to do with non-duality. So that's probably why your friend isn't willing to talk about it. So thank you. At some point when the time is right, I'll make a video about narcissism, and I've made a couple videos about Neo-Advaita will make you more selfish. So you might want to check that out. Thank you all so much for dropping by this video. I don't know how to say this without sounding sales pitchy, but so I'm just going to say it is I've started coaching and mentoring people and recovering from fake spirituality and Neo-Advaita. You can check out my website. It has a little bit of information about it. And I'm happy to have a conversation to see if I can be of service to you. I have a sliding scale, and I don't turn people away for lack of money. And I'm available to have a conversation with anyone to see if I can be of service. Thanks so much for dropping by, Rogan. Thank you for your beautiful comments. And I have to be blunt with you, Rogan. Neo-Advaita is a cult. It's a mental cult. And then there's also some teachers that have created an actual physical cult. I would advise you to just keep your distance from this person. They're very ill. They literally have, not in the traditional sense of the word, but they literally have a mental illness now, more like a virus, more like a cult in their mind. And not someone I would have a relationship or an ongoing connection with. Hi, 3 live viewers. Very warm welcome. You caught me on the tail end. And take care, beautiful souls. And I'll catch you soon. Mwah. My